really happy about just the entire spring game weekend up to this point. Today I thought was a great start. I really want to start off by thanking all 50+ thousand of our fans that showed up today. There was some challenging weather today, as we know, but that's part of springtime here in Oklahoma. But I thought the fan support, the atmosphere, especially there throughout the entire first half was awesome, and I thought our team, fed off of it. I love the in-game situations that we created by splitting it up and going against each other. And the game ended up being exactly how we would have drawn it up. We were sitting there throughout the week saying, well, if it's a tie, how are we going to break the tie? And we said, well, of course we're going to do overtime, but what are the chances it's going to end in a tie? And then it does. I was actually kind of happy, maybe 50-50, but a little happy when Seibert's, whatever it was, 56-yard field goal clanked off the goalpost. I wanted there to be overtime, so that was great. Great learning experience for our guys. I thought we, handled the competition pretty well. Did a good job coaching-wise with subs. There were some definite challenges there. Had a few guys get nicked up throughout the game like you do and had to communicate it. So many things that maybe you normally pick up in game one or game two that we were able to get accomplished today. So. And then the other thing I'd like to say is really appreciate all of our NFL guys coming back. I mean, they've been tremendous. AD, Trent, those guys were fabulous as head coaches. Lane and Tony were down there stoking up both sidelines as assistant coaches. You got Gerald McCoy getting the crowd amped up before the game and being there at the coin toss. And we had so many more back for Coach's event last night that have also been around here, and it's been important for our fans. It's been great for our players. It's been great for our recruits. So I appreciate those guys very much, and they're a big part of what makes this place, just different and very, very special. So it's a fun weekend. Still got a lot more to go here with our recruits, but again, appreciate the fans, appreciate the atmosphere today, and I think this is a spring game event that we got a lot done. I think we're going to continue to build on, and I think it's got a chance to get bigger and bigger, not only for this football program, but also this university and our little part of the state here.
From West Texas, you know how difficult it can be to throw in the wind like this. How difficult was it for those guys today, not just the quarterbacks, but the receivers passing?
Yeah, it was challenging. It was similar to the Kansas game this year, in that – when you were into the wind, there's just a part of the field that's a little bit off limits just because it's just hard to throw it that far into that strong of a wind. Downwind, actually, though, at times can be a little more challenging. You see the one ball that Kendall threw down the middle. I mean, the wind just grabbed it and whipped it, and so you can't – it's a little tougher to throw the ball, anything up in the air, because once it gets in the wind, it just takes it and you lose control. So, it challenged us a little bit, but we're used to practicing in that. This was maybe a little extreme today, but we did some decent things throwing and catching in it. I thought the quarterbacks handled it fine. There's a couple they'd like to have back, but they did a good job with it. And like I said, moved it around a little bit, but I'm really proud of the way our defense played. I thought we stayed in position. We covered well. We tackled extremely well. We got some heat on the quarterbacks. So it was back and forth like it's been all spring.
What is your injury situation? Is Trey okay? Trey Sermon?
Yeah, we'll look at Trey Sermon. I don't think it's serious. They'll evaluate him further, but I think the early indications look positive.
Anything with Justin Broyles?
I hadn't got a chance on those other guys yet.
Lincoln, with Austin, maybe it's because he's going up against Kyler in this competition, and Kyler is so mobile. But I think maybe there's a perception that Austin just can't move. Mm-hmm. How did you feel like he moved around today, and what about that perception? Can he move around a little bit better than people think?
Oh, yeah. No, Austin's a mobile guy. I mean, there's not any quarterback in the country probably that's as mobile as Kyler. So, I mean, I don't look at it that way, but just relative to other players, Austin moves well. You saw a lot of long runs today, was able to move around in the pocket and make some plays. And he's done that all camp. He's back healthier than he's ever been, moving better than he's ever been. So he's a person that when he's back there, they're going to have to account for him in a different way than Kyler, but certainly very effective. And so he's settled in here. I felt like that early in spring, Kyler was playing pretty well and probably was playing a little bit better than AK, which was to be expected. If you got to remember, all last year, Austin was running the scout team, it was the same way last spring, but the opposite. AK came in, was a little bit sharper. You could tell he'd worked with us all year. Austin's really started to settle in here this last half of spring, played really, really well. Thought he did a lot of nice things today as well. So it's neck and neck right now, without a doubt.
The high standard that Baker has set for the last 3 years, does that make it difficult for you to judge these guys or accurately assess these guys fairly? Knowing what the standard is.
No, not really. I mean, it's I've seen high level play, throughout this spring. Spring games, there's a lot of different things, as we've talked about in the past, that sometimes work against you as a quarterback. If I remember right, Baker kind of stunk last year during the spring game. That's after already playing 2 years here. So I mean, that's part of it. I don't put much into this, as far as those guys. There'll be some things we can evaluate, especially how they handle the situations. But both those guys can play. They've had good springs. We'll produce with those guys.
You have so many young guys you've been happy with throughout the spring on defense. You had a chance to see them flying around in a game. What did you think?
Yeah, they did a good job. I thought they settled in. Played really sound. Forced some turnovers. We got some constant pressure. We were able, even when we weren't turning guys loose, but able to just kind of squeeze the pocket on our guys a little bit. And did it without, a lot of our top players too. But, yeah, I saw some guys step up. Obviously, Miguel had the big interception down there. That was a great play by him. And a number of our young guys flying around making plays. So I didn't see anybody out there that was hesitant. And, from what I could tell, it's a little tougher for me to evaluate it after this than a normal game. In a normal game, I'm there watching our defense, listening to our calls. Today, trying to call it just from an offensive side on both teams. So a little bit tougher for me to evaluate it right now. But, I mean, they were sound, and obviously, it was, 3-3 after a half, so they played pretty well.
The interception and the throw before that Buki broke up.
Yes.
Yeah, did you kind of get antsy on both of those throws? Looked like there was traffic in both of them, a little bit late delivery? Or
No, the first one was on time. Missed him just a hair inside, and, yeah, Buki's a good enough cover guy. If you miss, he can make a play on it. Second one just tried to make something happened that wasn't there. Looked off a safety and then didn't see the corner fall back. So just got to stay through our progression. So the quarterbacks were solid. They had the times they weren't good were when they tried to make a little too much happen, and they both had some examples of that.
What do you have to have your quarterbacks do over the summer to prepare them for fall camp and continue this battle?
Just continue to grow. There's, we're going to have a ton of great film to go back through spring, evaluate what we've done, what we've done well, what we need to do better. I think they're continuing to learn about our personnel. We'll continue to narrow down the personnel for them, which makes it easier. It's a process. We're just kind of in the middle of it right now. So I like what they're doing. I like where they're at, but we absolutely got to get better.
Does the wind affect your play calling in the passing game? What you want them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a bunch of deep balls or.
Yeah, a little more. There's a little more to it than that. But I mean, yeah, there's some things are a little bit better down, some things a little bit better into. Depends on if it's if it's consistent one way, you can adapt. A day like today where it's kind of gusting, switching on us a few times, a little bit tougher.
What did you like or not like about the O-line today?
I thought we did a pretty good job running the ball. Had some nice seams on a few things. Thought we might have missed a couple of cuts in the run game, but I thought we moved the ball a little bit. I thought pass protection at time we gave up a little bit of push, which that's going to happen. But that was probably the group that this whole format was maybe the hardest on, because now you've got kind of a smorgasbord of guys all over the place that haven't been working together quite as much. So it was a little bit different for them. So there were some good new challenges there. I've been really happy, I would say, with the way that Cody Ford's played. We've used him a lot at tackle, and very well may keep him there. He's kind of been one of the – we always felt like he was going to, be in the mix, no doubt. But, I mean, he's really established himself as a guy that if we started today, there's no question that he'd be out there. He's and to do it at the tackle position, that wasn't something maybe that we were anticipating that he would do so well at that position so quickly without very many reps there. So he's had a great spring. I think Jonathan Alvarez has had a really nice spring as well, along with Creed Humphrey. That's a great battle right now. But Alvarez in particular has done a great job. Yeah, so we're growing there. You know, we're getting better. We've still got some depth, some talent, and it'll be very competitive going into camp.
On Kennedy Brooks, he kind of popped a few.
Yeah, that's kind of what he does every day in practice. Yeah, here he goes again. I mean, it's just kind of him. He's got kind of a unique running style. You know, he kind of slides through there. It's kind of easy, and all of a sudden he's out. But he's pretty smooth. He's a really natural runner. We got to get the other parts of his game to continue to develop. You can tell what he did in high school. They were smart. They handed it to him about 30 times a game, and he averaged about 300 yards a game in the best classification of ball in Dallas. So you tell what he does well. Now he's got kind of like Samaje was, you know, we got here. He's got to develop the rest of his game and become more rounded like Samaje became. But he's doing better. He's had a nice spring. He's healthy. He's starting to get some confidence. Proud of the spring he's had, especially the second half here.
Rodney was out. You had Rodney out.
Yep.
And then when Trey goes down, you had a chance to look at the others. Can you talk about the depth, how you feel going in below those first two?
Yeah, pretty good. You know, I think Marcellus Sutton's had a good spring. You could tell he's much more comfortable within the system, understanding kind of the second level of this, not just the base plays, but where things are supposed to hit, anticipating blocks. Made some explosive plays for us today. Kennedy, as we said, has been good. TJ Pledger was a little nicked up, just enough to hold him out, but it really had a productive spring as well. So we got 5 guys there we feel pretty solid about. We do, and so we've got some depth. We've got a little bit more experience coming in with the fact that Trey and Rodney and Marcellus have played, you know, a decent amount for us. So. Yeah, if you were to compare it, probably like where we're at a little bit more this year than last year, certainly. And I do think there's some quality depth that we know we'll need going through the schedule.
I know you said you've seen, you know, that's kind of what Kennedy Brooks does. But when you have young guys or inexperienced guys like Ryan Jones and Miguel Edwards that make plays on this stage, does that say something to you as a coach that you want to keep exploring going forward?
Yeah, it tells you we got to keep recruiting. You know, it tells you that you got to keep bringing in young, great players. Yeah, I mean, Ryan's been a guy that's we've been happy with his progression. You know, now that he's in there with Coach Mike every single day, he's just from a guy coming in that was primarily a receiver in high school and then a safety here, and so it's kind of been a big change for him. And but Mike's done a great job. His progression has been rapid, and he's got an undeniable talent. So he's disruptive without a doubt. Yeah, proud of Miguel making the play on the big stage. Yeah, I hated we didn't get to get Redmond. Was kind of in the same category as Pledger. You know, it's got a little banged up and just wasn't quite ready to go. Hated to not have him today because he's been good. Buki, as we said, has been good. Patrick Fields has done some good things. So, yeah, I'm excited about those young guys. Ronnie Perkins, another guy, I see him flying around today. I mean, all those young guys are going to help this program, most of them sooner rather than later.
We always talked about Dimitri would be hard to replace. You get Carson and Jeremiah both today. How they progress so far.
Good. It's a good battle. It's a good battle. It's they're just on totally different ends of the spectrum right now. Carson getting to the close of his career, Jeremiah just getting rolling. But it's been really competitive. I think they benefited from the change in the coaching staff, where now it's kind of one guy zeroed in on them, and so they're progressing. They're getting a lot of reps, like the depth we're going to have there, and but they know the opportunities they have if they can win the job.
A guy named Robert Charlton made a couple of defensive plays.
Yep.
We learned he's come over from the track team. Mm-hmm. Is he going to play? What's his story?
I don't know. We got a few more practices before then, but he's done a couple good things. Yeah, showed up, eager. Has made a couple plays throughout spring ball. He's got some obvious athletic ability. Can run around a little bit. Still raw, but yeah, we'll see. He's got a chance.
What's next for your quarterbacks beyond what you told Eric about just progressing and growing? What's next for them to have to do this summer? Organizing 7-on-7s.
Yeah.
How important is that in your eyes?
Yeah, Kyler, he'll get done with baseball here pretty quick, and then hopefully they've coached them. They've had a great run, so hopefully they can finish off a great season, have a good postseason run. Yeah, and then, into summer where they can really kind of zero in and get a lot of work done. And I think we'll have so much more to really look at, in that we can study what they've done this spring, again, where we need to get better, getting on the same page with all of our skilled players, And for us, it's starting to tailor the offense to what we think these guys can do really, really well. So, like you are in all spring games, you're pretty generic today, and not really trying to game plan or base anything on certain players' abilities. So, yeah, that summer will be big. That's a time where you can separate yourself. A lot of it's you only get 8 hours a week, I think, mandatory with them during the summer. So, but if they're only spending 8 hours a week on it themselves, and they won't be the starting quarterback here.
How much could the draft, Major League Baseball draft, affect Kyler's progression? Your evaluation of him.
We've had some discussions on that. We're open and honest with each other about that, and I'm comfortable about where we're at with it.
Lincoln, you said that you want this to be kind of a jumping off point for your spring game, the festivities.
Mm-hmm.
Up to this point, how do you feel like it went? It seems like the administration's happy with everything and how it went. I know you're having a big recruiting weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It has. It's it's kind of one thing after another. It's a lot, but it's great. And I think we've got big plans for it. I think this could not only become a huge weekend just for OU football, but for our entire athletic program, our entire university. I think you can build a lot around what you can potentially do this weekend. And so those are conversations that we've already started to have as we look towards the future and know that now, next time we get a full year to really build this, we've got something to look back on and say, hey, here's what we did, here's what went well, here's what we can do better. So, yeah, I thought we were off to a great start. I mean, we put our heart and soul into this one. I mean, every ounce we had, we put into this one. But we'll be ready to do it again, even better next year. I think our fans will know what to expect, and I think we can build a lot more around it as far as the university and make it great for everybody, not just OU football.
When you say are you able to offer any specifics you're talking about when you say this doesn't have to be limited to just OU football? Like, give us a hint.
Well, I mean, you got a lot of other sports on campus, and one of the best recruiting tools that we have is this stadium in here and OU football, and when it's filled up, and a lot of our teams are able to use it during the season, and we communicated with a lot of our other teams because we want to work well with them, and it's important to all of us that we all have success, and so some of them were able to use it, but I think as it's planned more in the future, you're able to get more teams around it. University potentially being able to build days around or around this weekend of having, different prospective students in different events, all kind of circulated around this. And so it can get really big. It can get as big as we want it to get. And so those will be discussions that we'll have. But again, I don't see why this can't really grow and be something positive for everybody.
Is that the possibility of building around the spring for an entire weekend? Was that something you thought about even before becoming head coach? Was it something that popped into your mind, like, maybe we can turn this into something after becoming head coach?
No.
What was the genesis of this thinking?
Just probably as we progressed, trying to make this one as good as we could. There were some things we knew we'd be able to do, but there's also some things with the timeline that we knew just weren't going to fit right now. And so we had to work within the timeline. Now there's no timeline. Now we can plan ahead, and when we just try to look as big picture as we can, and we see big possibilities.
Time for one more. I know you weren't there this morning, but what was your initial reaction on the David Bourne news, and how did you find out about that? Just,
I don't know, tough to describe. Guy, that I'm very close to, means a lot to me, and so, such a, tough for it to be such a great event and great thing, and then and to see him not feeling well. So it hurts me. It hurts me. So I'll be excited to, to check on him. Hadn't had to get a chance to get an update on him, since the game got started. But he's, he and Molly are in our thoughts and prayers right now.
Bob suggested you might get your own statue in 25 or 30 years. You think you'll be around that long?
I'm just going to try to make it to year 2. I just got through my first spring game, so I'm glad to get through that one. Yeah. All right, thanks.